This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
The hour that packs a punch. It's Reese on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you.
It's showtime!
Hey, what's going on, everybody out there? You know what time it is. It's time for Reese on the Radio, the Reese on the Radio Rundown on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. Welcome all aboard. If you guys are out there traveling through the state, going to see your loved ones, because it's the last Sunday before Christmas, stay safe out there. Mind the road. No texting. The only thing you should be doing is listening to Reese on the Radio, listening to my melodious voice while you travel across the country. And it's always good to be here. I'm always very grateful to be on the airwaves and have you guys listen to me rant and rave about things that tick me off or give me joy or make me laugh. That's what the purpose of today's show is, and we'll talk about that. I did something incredibly awful to my wife just the other day. And if you don't mind, if you'll indulge me as I tell this ridiculous Christmas story, and it's sort of two stories in one. And it has to do with how someone evolves in a relationship. And I didn't think that I could see it in that way. Because sometimes evolution between you and somebody in your life, it can happen without you really noticing. But this one was so evident, I had to tell the story because I felt so horrible when it happened. So let me lay it out. A couple of years back, I want to say it had to have been the first year or the first Christmas the wife and I shared with one another. And she was so excited to buy me a Christmas gift. And she got me a watch. She knew I was into watches. I'm still into watches, but she knew, sort of like the first relationship Christmas gift. So they go all in on the thing that they know that you're into. So she was like, he likes watches. I'm going to get him a watch, and I'm going to find a great watch that he's going to love. So she did. She purchased the watch in November, way ahead of Christmas. And a lot of people do that. I get it. I kind of feel like maybe you should wait till December. She had it. She hid it in the apartment. I would have never looked for it. I would have never searched for it. But I'll never forget, it was one day that I had off, and it was rare that I ever had a day off. And she woke up, and she was just in this mood, this very, very excitable mood. And she's like, do you want your Christmas gift? And I looked at her, and I went, what? No, it's not even, we've got a couple of weeks till Christmas. No, please let me give it to you. And I'm like, no, I don't, this is wrong. I should be able to open it. She goes, I got you plenty of stuff. So she was just so excited for me to see this watch. And in my head, I'm saying to myself, if it's a lame gift, I've got to pretend it's the greatest gift ever because of the look on her face. So anyway, long and short of it, I end up opening up this little box, and there it is. It's my watch. And I love the watch. Still have it. Sits on my dresser. I don't wear it all that much. Loved the watch. And it was in my favorite color, blue. So I really love the watch. Fast forward to 2024. And it's weird how this happened, but my wife started buying gifts again in November. And some of the gifts she just started giving to me now to put under the tree. She didn't tell me what they were, and she was incredibly tight-lipped, which, again, I didn't really pay attention to until this happened. So she has these 2 boxes, and she gives them to me, and she goes, here, listen, I can't carry these. Can you please take these and put them under the tree? And I went, that's okay. You can't carry them? Like, what kind of gifts did you buy? Anyway, so I go and I grab the gifts, and they weigh, they're pretty substantial. They weigh a lot. Like, if you would purchase someone a small television or electronic equipment, it was that kind of weight. It was dead weight. And it's in a box and it's wrapped, so I couldn't really tell. But all I knew is that the boxes were really heavy. So I picked them up and I started taking them to the tree. And she tells me to separate the boxes. One box goes to the boy, and the other box goes with my gift. So I'm putting it down. I don't think much of it. I just say to myself, wow, she went all out. I didn't. Well, that's a long story. I'll talk about my gift in a minute. Anyway, but I'm thinking about it. So days go by. Not a lot, just about 2 or 3. And we go on our evening walk. And as I'm walking, something dawns on me, and I go, honey, what did you buy me that was so heavy? And she was like, I can't tell you. Now, in my head, I'm starting to realize, well, usually she's very eager to tell me what the gift is. I remember that vividly. But she wouldn't tell me. I was like, okay, can you at least tell me if it's for the bedroom or for the office? And she's like, I can't tell you that either. I'm like, whoa, wow. Now she's being incredibly tight-lipped. And the only thing running through my mind is that this gift is heavy. It's really heavy. So I can't think of it. I'm like, what? Anyway, so we go on with our walk. One day later, we're in the bedroom. We're finishing up laundry, and we're making the bed. And my wife turns around and starts, tucking one side of the sheet. I'm tucking my side. We're moving this bit. We're putting it on the pillowcases. And all of a sudden, she tells me, wait, I forgot my weighted blanket. She grabs the weighted blanket, and she puts it down onto the bed. And I look at her, and I go, hey, didn't you say that you were going to buy me one? Oh, no. I realized that. I went, oh, no. That's what was in the box. The reason why it weighed so much, it was a weighted blanket. And I had ruined it. And I looked at her when I said it. And I said, hey, weren't you going to buy me one of these? And as soon as I said it, she looked up at me and she grimaced in such a way that I went, oh, no. And I fell to my knees and I was horrified. I was like, oh, how did I screw that up? I don't know. I have no idea how I ended up. Like, I should have never, ever said anything. Should have never said a word. And one thing, I still feel bad. She cried. Not like she cried because I had ruined it for her. She cried because she had finally done the one thing that she finds it difficult to do, and that's keep a secret. She kept the secret for so long, and I ruined it. And I have other gifts, but I can't believe that was for her. That was a special one because I did say I wanted a weighted blanket, and she got me the thing that I wanted, and she wanted it to be a surprise, and I completely ruined it. Needless to say, I'm sleeping with the weighted blanket now. I've already opened up the gift. I know. I'm a heel. I know. I'm a horrible person. Let's take a break. We'll be back. More news, more views when we return. It's Reese on the radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. Oh, baby, I love that. Ooh, that sounds good. That's one of my favorite Christmas songs ever. I love that song. Shake a Hand is appropriate, all things considered. Looks like the Democrats and the Republicans have decided to shake hands and pass that CR bill to avoid a government shutdown. I got to be honest, I was for the shutdown. I was, I was always feeling the shutdown. Yes, shut it down. A lot of my friends always scream and holler at me. They always go, Reese, you're anti-government. And I'm like, so you're pro-government? No, I'm not saying that. I saw that they decided that they were going to come up with this bill. And look, Washington is supposed to be messy. I love this thing that they do on the news every day about, talking about how divided government is and people not deciding. The framers.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Put it this way for a reason. Nothing is supposed to go through easily. The government is not supposed to be able to just pass through any legislation whenever it wants. It just isn't. And I know all the rest of these bozos keep trying to tell people that. And a lot of, misinformed, uninformed people, they go, why can't they just... Because a lot of this stuff you wouldn't even spend our money on if you knew what was in there. So if you don't know what's in the bill, if you don't know what they were trying to waste our money with, shut up. Just shut up. And if you're not going to tell people the reason why people are fighting, why there's infighting in Democrat and Republican parties, if you don't do that, shut up. You're trying to sow this division. Look at them. They're fighting. They just can't agree. Agree on what? Anyway, I don't want to get into that. I'll shout all day. It's Christmas.
It's Christmas, Theo.
Anyway, look, listen to me. If you ever need to understand who Democrats are, all you have to do is listen to what they say when the cameras come. Now, if you watched Hakeem Jeffries and what's her name, Jasmine Crockett and Stubbs, if you watch these people on television, ask yourself this question. Do they look like they just lost an election? Do they sound like a bunch of people who have lost an election? A huge election? No. All of that talk, and I told you guys, all of that talk about we need to regroup. We need to look at ourselves in the mirror and find out how we can reach across the aisle and get some of those hardworking people back. And then read this bill about what they want to spend money on, more woke nonsense. We need to get rid of the woke in our establishment. There was more woke nonsense in this CR bill than you could shake a stick at. They've abandoned nothing, as I told you they would. They would never depart from who they are. They are who they are. They are sewn in Democrat leftist radicals. It's in their DNA. For those guys to wake up after Election Day and go, no, we need to rethink it. That's bull. They can't. Do you understand that? They will never be reprogrammed. Because I told you the only thing they could do is sound like Republicans. Even Republican light is something that they're allergic to. They treat it like a bad disease. Get that off me. Get that off me. So don't believe that nonsense. Listen to these folks. Listen to them in their own words. And you tell me whether or not they sound like they're reaching across the aisle or that they lost an election.
It's really stunning what has happened in the last 24 hours. You have seen the power that these billionaires have.
The wealthiest man in the world, Elon Musk, began tweeting his opposition to this legislation. In fact, he was very blunt about it. He told Republicans that if they voted for this proposal, which they had already agreed to do, he would take out his wallet and spend as much money as it took to defeat them in primaries.
MAGA may believe that he is their ultimate savior. It's amazing because they allegedly don't like immigrants, but I guess they in love with this one.
House Democrats have successfully stopped extreme MAGA Republicans from shutting down the government, crashing the economy, and hurting working class Americans all across the land.
Okay, I cannot tell a lie. I cannot stand that Hakeem Jeffries guy. Do you ever listen to the way he talks? It's like the MAGA Republican. It's like he's waiting for his brain to catch up to his mouth so he can say the next word. It's like the MAGA Republicans on the opposite side have decided. Hold on. I'm sorry, that's the way he talks. Just drives me through the roof. That's why I know everything that comes out of that man's mouth is phony. He has no idea what he's going to go out there and talk about. And if he does know what he's going to say, it's scripted as hell. Because he's got to move his hands as if the hand gesture sort of enunciates what he's trying to say. And the hand movements do not even coincide with the words that are coming out of his mouth. You know, like usually when someone speaks, they sort of they do an interpretive sort of speech. Like when they say wide, they spread their arms. When they say moving forward, they point forward. When they point back, they put their thumb back. Like, you know the moves. Hakeem Jeffries is doing moves that don't even associate with the word he's saying. It's the weirdest thing. That's how I know this guy's a phony. All of them are phonies. But they were all talking that mess. Where's Chris Murphy now? Talking about how we need to be a populist. Not these folks. This 1,500 paid bill was going to keep Congress from ever being investigated, was going to give themselves a pay raise after the American people told everyone that these government stooges, they want them out. After they gave Donald Trump, the guy who wants to clean the swamp, the presidency of the United States, these guys responded to that by saying, hey, can we get a 40% pay raise? I cannot believe it. But there they are. They are doing what Democrats do. You got to love them. You got to love them. The worst people ever. Oh, and trust me, what are we at? Less than 30 days? We had about 30 days before Inauguration Day. Oh, it's going to get worse. It has to get worse. Because there's something knee-jerk in Democrats when it comes to Donald Trump or anyone they're opposed to, and they always go back to who they are. It's just something they cannot do. It's either an addiction, it's a zombie-like mental state that they're in, but it doesn't matter. You forget about all that stuff, like the immediate response after the election. Oh, we need to be reflective. It's gone. It's over. Just like that. Just like it just took a month. They are back to their old ways. They've got to lose another election. They have to continue to lose elections. That's why I say this all the time. You can never take your foot off the gas. It's got to be fight, fight, fight mode every day. I know there's some people out there who ask themselves, they ask me, it's like, is there any time we're going to get a break? Really? With these people? No. because they see a break or you taking one as an opportunity. They are the ones who are always swinging. You might want to ask, when are they going to stop? When are you guys going to stop swinging? Their response will be never. It'll be never. So, what are you going to do? You fight. That's what you do. All right, we'll take a break. More news, more views when we return. It's Reese on the Radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Reese on the Radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC, News Talk 1080.
Beautiful Christmas music just before Christmas Day. I hope you guys are going to have a wonderful one. I've got a gift for you, and it's the gift of the supercut. Some of you may know this term. A supercut is a bunch of edited pieces that are all put together. They all capture one theme. And the beauty of it is that during these talk breaks, I talk for about 10 minutes about whatever subject I bring up. But in this break, I'm barely going to have to do 10 minutes because there's so much audio to share with you. You're going to love it. Let me set it up. Do you folks remember the article that just came out by the Wall Street Journal about who's been running the country? About who is in charge of the United States right now? Whom did 81 million people vote for? Well, apparently it was for a guy who has not been at the helm of anything for the last 4 years. In fact, according to the article, in the opening months of this administration, the president of the United States, Joseph R. Biden, was not at the helm at all. The reasons why he wasn't showing up at places, why he wasn't responding to certain things, is because he couldn't. He was absolutely incapacitated. But I want to take you back. I want to take you back to the press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre. I have all of these audio sound bites. I saved them because I played them throughout the years. Listen to Karine Jean-Pierre in several questions and answer sessions where she is responding to the acuity of her boss, Joseph R. Biden.
You talked about the video of the president wandering, and it's not true, right? The president wasn't wandering. He was talking to a parachuter that was right in front of him.
Yeah, and I think you all have called this the cheap fakes video, and that's exactly what they are. They are cheap fakes video. They are done in bad faith, and some of your news organization have been very clear, have stressed that these right-wing critics of the president have a credibility problem.
Is President Biden ever going to convince the 3/4 of voters who are worried about his physical and mental health that he is okay, even though in Las Vegas he told a story about recently talking to a French president who died in 1996.
I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole with you, sir.
What is
We're
the
going
rabbit
to
hole?
go ahead.
He said
go
he
ahead.
talked to Mitterrand.
Go ahead. You saw the president in Vegas, in California. You've seen the president in South Carolina. You saw him in Michigan. I'll just leave it there.
What I can speak to is how we see this, what our perspective is. Our perspective is that it's not about age. It's about the president's experience. That's what we believe. And it's, as they say, the proof is in the pudding. He's been able to manage multiple foreign policy challenges. He's been able to do that. That's because of his experience.
Polls that show that the electorate at large and also significant majorities within the Democratic Party believe that the president is too old. The polls that show the American people and also significant majorities within the Democratic Party don't want him to run again. And the polls that show his handling of the economy, foreign policy, all of these dismal polls, his job approval ratings, does the White House have any basis to challenge the accuracy of that polling?
I'm not challenging the accuracy here. That's not what I'm doing. What I'm saying to you is that, we're not going to change the minds of Americans. I get that. Americans are going to feel how they feel, and we're going to respect that. And I've said that many times from here. Many times. I said that moments ago. What I can tell you is what our perspective is. What I can tell you is how we see things.
Do you remember those? Do you remember how indignant that woman got? Now, if you listen to that, I've watched these videos. I've listened to this audio, and it makes me angry that this woman she got an attitude with people. How dare they ask a question when we now know that she was out there bold-faced lying to every one of us about everything, that this man was in charge of nothing, that he was completely, he wasn't there. It was a shadow president. It was a shadow government. I have no idea who made the decision to do anything. Was it Ron Klain? Was it Karine Jean-Pierre? Was it Jen Psaki? Was it Anita Dunn? Who was in charge? Was it Victoria Nuland? Who was actually running things? Was Barack Obama running things? I guess that bears the question now. Was Barack Obama the shadow president? And let's go one step further. What we do know is Kamala Harris wasn't in charge. Nowhere in this article. In fact, the article begs more questions than we do answers. We don't have any answers. And not once did I read in the article. In fact, I've read every article that's come out about the article, and not one of them has ever said that Kamala Harris was in charge. It would have made sense. Technically, she was his running mate. They elected Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to run the country. Why not make her president? Why didn't they ever choose to? According to this article, he's never been in charge, and they never gave the reins to the vice president at all. She assisted them in covering up the fact that he was incapacitated and never put her in charge. Unless, of course, all of these bonehead decisions were her, and they're protecting her now. But there's nothing in the article that says that. Not one person has spoken up and say, yeah, Kamala was really running things. Not once. And they wanted her to be president. Oh, here's some more. These are my favorite. This is the news media and people who worked in the White House. Listen to them talking about how great Joe Biden is. Oh, and how he was never, ever incapacitated at all.
So I think that the president's made it clear that he's not leaving the race. So what I think that the conversations are happening in Rehoboth, I think he's recovering from COVID and probably resting and doing what people do when they're sick.
Listen, I haven't made it abundantly clear, I am 10 toes down, 100% riding with Biden.
President Biden, as I've said repeatedly, is our nominee. He has a tremendous track record of success.
What I'm hearing, 85% of the people that have contacted me are all in for the president.
Those last two bozos were Hakeem Jeffries and Jim Clyburn. Now, I know I call Van Jones and Bakari Sellers the crying Negro brothers. I may have to call Clyburn and Jeffries the lying Negro brothers. When everybody gets back from the holiday break, when you get back from New Year's, that's all we're going to do. We are going to remind the American people every day, up until inauguration, of everything they said about Joe Biden. No, he was absolutely fine. Yesterday, I saw him spinning plates, doing backflips. Now, it's all over. They got no credibility. Every person, I'm going to find every tape that I can of one of these people going on the record saying that Joe Biden was absolutely fine. Jim Clyburn, we got to get to you, buddy. That you're his surrogate. You're one of his best friends. Chris Coons, we've got to get to the bottom of this. Here's more. We're not done. Here's more.
Ageism is an issue. Americans have a rich history of holding people's physical characteristics against them. Okay, you can ask African Americans.
He's older. That doesn't mean that he is unfit, and there's a lot of ageism there.
Now, this age attack, this obsession by the right, Joe Biden may not be able to speak for himself the way that he used to. I think people should be speaking up for Joe Biden.
Americans and reporters in the media are just judging him by a physical appearance, and it's horribly unfair. Age is an asset.
He showed exactly how with it he is.
The flip side of this coin is that he has a tremendous amount of wisdom and experience. Have you heard any concerns from anyone who has met with President Biden about him seeming a little slower?
No. More wild speculation from a bunch of people who have probably never been in a room with Joe Biden and certainly don't have medical degrees that I'm aware of.
You don't get paid for performance to be president. The job is not a job of endurance. I don't see Donald Trump out bike riding like Joe Biden.
It's the Hillary's email.
All they have is that he's old. He can clear a dementia bar, and that's probably a win.
The media are not fair.
And one of the themes this election cycle is that Joe Biden is too old to lead. And so everyone is seizing upon this. And it is a classic disinformation tactic. And I think the best thing that we can do is to prepare the American people for this false narrative.
We got to get to the bottom of all of these liars. Have got to come forward now and tell us, yep, they're going to blow the lid off this thing. It's the biggest presidential scandal in history. This is bigger than the resignation of Richard Nixon. Forget about Watergate. This is the biggest presidential scandal ever. Ever. And you can try to play it down all you want. But all of you who voted for him, all of you out there with the, I love Joe, you're morons, and you know it now. You can't say anything. Don't even open your mouth. When you guys open your mouths, I am going to chastise you. I'm going to chastise you like auntie at church. I'm going to chastise you. No. Sit down, shut up. You're not allowed to talk. No. You have absolutely no credibility. Be quiet, shut up. This whole presidency was a sham. The whole damn thing was a sham. We'll be back. It's Reese on the Radio, NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
Stay locked in. Reese on the Radio is on WTIC, NewsTalk 1080.
All right, everybody. It is almost a wrap here. We are going to finish up and get ready for the holiday coming up. It's weird when Christmas is on a Wednesday, like the middle of the week, because you've got Monday. Some people have to go to work on Monday, and then they're off like Tuesday. It's just a weird, and many people have to go back to work on Thursday. Speaking of Thursday, yours truly, Reese on the Radio, will be back. I want to address two things because, again, I'm not going to talk to you guys until after Christmas, and I want to take this time to, one, wish you merriment. Wish you all well. May you get all your heart desires. But if anything, I hope you find peace, joy, love, and happiness with the people you care about and love most. I hope the best for me and my family as well. But I want to address this, and I want to say this because I do have a Christmas wish. And I believe that we all do in some way. Sometimes those wishes are selfish. And if I might, I'm going to sound a little selfish here. And I take anyone who wants to have an issue with me being selfish here. But let me tell you what my Christmas wish is for me, if I can so much as say. I hope, I wish, and I pray that with everything that's going on in our world, with the things that have been going on in our world, and those things that are soon to come, I hope and pray, my Christmas wish is that I get to engage those things, talk about those things, and share them with you here on WTIC in the immediate future and beyond. It has been a gift from God, a gift from Todd, and a gift from Janine and Joey and so many other people. Steve, there's so many people that I can mention. Roland, Anthony, so many people have given me an opportunity to be here, to do this show, to do it my way. No one has constricted me, told me how to do radio for them. They let me and they trusted me to do this, and you have trusted me. You have allowed me in your homes and in your cars and on your phones, your smartphones, wherever it is that you've been checking out Reese on the Radio. I want to let you know that my Christmas wish is to continue to do that in the future. I hope I get the opportunity to do that. And I want to thank all of you. There's so many messages that I get from people that I can't get to all of them. There are people who have T-shirts. I have to get to them. And it's unfortunately because of this Amazon strike, I've been held up with that stuff, and I feel really bad. In fact, I feel like I'm going to give people their money back and just send them some shirts for nothing. which I will work on, and I apologize for the delay. I just feel like that's, it's taking too long, and it's been dragging out, and I've been racking my brains trying to figure out what's been going on there. So anyway, I'm digress. But yeah, it's been great these 2.5 years as I've been watching this time go by. 3 hours a day here, 2 hours a day there, from filling into the midday, filling in for Brian, filling in for Tom, filling in for Will, and of course, filling in for Todd as I have been for the last 5 months. I really have had the opportunity of a lifetime. I celebrate you. I celebrate this station. If I may, I want to tell you a little story about my first involvement with WTIC, and it was 20 years ago. I was working for the power station. It was called Power 104, and it was a hip-hop station in Hartford. It had just started when I got here in Hartford, and I was nervous, somewhat apprehensive. I didn't know what I was getting into. I just knew I wanted to do radio, and I wanted to be funny. And I would involve myself and engage in everything that was happening in radio because I wanted people to know my name. I wanted people to know who I was. And I was kind of, I was a younger guy and a dumber guy. And I kicked a lot of hornet's nests as a young person because I really thought that was the way you made your name, is to kind of be a jerk while being funny. Like, I at least wanted to make people laugh while they were saying I was being a jerk. But I really didn't know who I was. I knew that I just wanted to be that funny guy on the radio, and I wanted to be, I guess, famous, as any young person wanted to be in this medium. It's like, I hope everybody gets to know my name. Eventually, a lot of people did. I went to this thing. There was a sort of a taste of Hartford in town. It was over by the river, and where the convention center sits now before it was built. And all of the radio stations were there. My radio station was there. And this one station, I didn't know who they were. All I read was WTIC on the banner. I had heard of them on the air. We had listened to the news from that station when we got to town. So we were well aware that they were there. We didn't think that we were competing with them. So what would they care that we were this sort of upstart shock jock hip hop network? And I remember seeing their booth and just sort of talking to a bunch of people. And I say to the guys over at WTIC, my first response to them was, "Hey, you're the Tick." And I'll never forget the look on their faces when I said that. And of course, a few people chuckled. They thought it was funny. But one person said, "They hate it when you call us that." And I didn't know if they meant me calling it, because I'd never said that on air. That was the way I saw them. "Hey, you're the Tick," which to me I thought was clever. Why aren't they calling themselves the Tick? Well, all things considered, for me, you have to understand where my head was at, right? Saying the Tick meant, they dig into you, They get inside your skin. That's us. We're WTIC, the Tick. We burrow. I don't know what I was thinking. I was an idiot, okay? I understand that I sound like a moron. Okay? But I remember when he said that. He goes, "Yeah, they don't like it when you call them that." He didn't say he didn't like it. He said the company doesn't like it when you call them that. Which in my mind also said, obviously I'm not the first one. But I'll never forget. And to see, here it is, 20 years later, and I work at the Tick. I found a way to burrow in. I don't know how, but I'm here. And I hope I get to spend an eternity here. I hope I never leave. I love you guys. I love this place. I love this radio station. I love the people who work here. It's not just about a building. It's about the the people, the lives that I've been involved in, and they've invited me into their little brood with open arms. They've been the greatest people in the world, and I can't thank them enough. It has been a Christmas gift every day for 2 years and 7 months, and I can't wait to keep it going. Again, guys, Merry Christmas. I'll see you guys on Thursday. I love you, and be well. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your minds. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the radio. You have a Merry Christmas.